Let's set up the workspace for modding in 1.19 with Forge. Alright, we find ourselves back once again, this time with the start of the 1.19 tutorial series here for Forge, and it's going to be really freaking awesome. So even if you have no prior knowledge to modding or programming, you can still follow along with this series. I highly recommend still getting some Java knowledge, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But first of all, we're going to download and install all of the things that you need. The first thing you'll need is a JDK, that is a Java development kit. And this is of course needed because Minecraft and Forge are written in Java, therefore we need to download the JDK. I highly recommend using the one from Adoptium over here. Everything we need is going to be linked in the description below, so no worries at all. And we're going to choose the JDK 17, so make sure that JDK 17 is selected, and then I'm just going to download the MSI for Windows here in this case, and after it is downloaded, you can just open it and then install it onto your PC like any other program. Once you have installed the JDK, we can then move on to an IDE, that is an integrated development environment. I highly suggest using IntelliJ IDEA, the community edition over here to the right. That is free, so no worries at all. You don't need to pay anything for this, so we can just download this as well. And once again, just download it. Once it's done, just install it onto your PC like any other program, and then we can proceed afterwards. Right, we don't need to start IntelliJ just yet, because first of all, we need to download Minecraft Forge. Now, currently, we are on version 41.0.16. This is, once you see this video, probably going to be higher, and that's totally fine. What you want to do is you always want to download the latest version when you are actually programming and modding in this case. And then what you want to do is you want to go to the MDK. It's going to get you to this add focus here. You just have to wait for 5 seconds, and then at the top right corner, you can download the zip file. So let's just wait for a second. Click the skip button, and then the zip file will download. And you can see I've already prepared this over here, so I'm just going to right-click extract here. So all of the files are extracted here. I'm using WinRAR to basically get everything out of this zip file. You can also use 7-zip. That is, of course, up to you. But then we can delete the zip file here, and we can also delete all of the text files. So the changelog, credits, license, and README file. Those can also all be deleted, and then we only are remaining with these different files and folders. Then let's just copy this over. So let's just click in here and press Ctrl-C to copy the actual directory structure where this is located, because we're going to need that in just a moment when we actually start IntelliJ. But before we start IntelliJ, let's actually take a look at the actual Java introduction playlist over here. I highly recommend it if you have absolutely no idea about Java or anything. Please, I cannot stress this enough. I highly recommend going through this playlist once before you really start diving into modding. It can only help you in the long run, because once again, everything in modding and in Minecraft, at least the Java edition, is of course written in Java. So if you don't understand it, you're going to have a way harder time understanding everything and how everything is working. This is why I highly recommend going through this series. These are 31 videos that are at least going to give you a little bit of an idea of how Java works. This is definitely not an extensive series, like it's not going to exhaust and you're going to know everything about Java, but this is at least going to lay a little bit of a groundwork for you so you can more easily jump into modding as well. I'll of course link this as well in the description below. Right now, let's start IntelliJ for the first time, and this is roughly how it's going to look like. It's probably going to look like a little bit different to you, but that is totally fine, because what you will have is you will have a new project button, an open button, and a get from VCS button. Those 3 buttons are definitely going to be somewhere when you open IntelliJ for the first time, and you want to click the open button. A new dialog will appear, and you can then paste in the actual directory that we've copied over where the Forge tutorial is. There you go. So you can actually take a look at this. You want to select the directory or the folder where all of those folders and files are contained in. Yeah, so this is the one that you want to choose. You want to say OK. We're going to say trust project, and then a new window here will open. It's going to immediately start doing things. So you can see it's already building stuff. If any errors come up right now, that is totally fine, right? If anything red here happens, don't panic. Everything is going to be okay. You're just going to let this run through, either with a build successful or a build failed. Both of those are going to be fine at this point. This warning as well can be completely ignored, where this is not an issue. So as I've said, just let this run through. Whatever the warnings say, whatever the errors say, if at the end it is a build successful, then everything is working fine. If it is a build failed, there are still some steps that we can go through to basically mitigate that. But just keep patient for a moment. This can take anywhere from a few seconds to maybe even a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I've seen a little bit longer for some people when their computer is not as fast and their internet connection might not be as fast. Overall, just be patient and let this run through. Don't do anything, and then we'll see after we're done. Alright, so here we go, build successful in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. As I've said, anything that red that comes up looking like this, anything like that, totally fine. You can completely ignore this as long as you're getting a build successful in the end. That is all that matters. Right now, there are a few settings that you still need to take a look at just in case. So let's go to File, Project Structure, and then making sure that our SDK here is selected to be 17. So we want to basically select the JDK that we have just downloaded in the beginning of the tutorial here and select this. So SDK 17, same with level language. We want this to be SDK default, which should also be 17. Hit apply, okay. And then sometimes it will reload some things, but that's going to be totally fine. We also want to go to File, Settings, Build Execution Deployment, Build Tools, Gradle, and make sure that the Gradle JVM here is Project SDK. If that is the case, we can hit apply, okay, and then we're fine. Right, the next thing that we want to do is we want to expand the Java folder. So for this, you just click on the little arrow over here, and this is what should greet you. Com, example, ExampleMod, and an ExampleMod class over here. Now, this is actually not the way that I want this displayed. So for this, you're going to go to this options menu over here, tree appearance, make sure that flatten packages as well as compact middle packages are turned off, and then it's going to expand like this. This is how I'm going to use IntelliJ for the rest of the tutorial series. So if you want this mirrored and the same thing, then you have to do that as well. Right, now we can start changing some things. So first of all, we're going to go into the build.gradle file actually. So we're going to double click on the build.gradle file, and here are some things that we need to change. So first of all, we have a version of the mod. So I highly suggest doing it like this. So you have 3 numbers separated by dots, right? 0.0.1 in this case, dash, and then the number of whatever the Minecraft version is you're programming for. So in this case, it's going to be 190. The group, well, what is this going to be? So this is com.yourname.modID. I'm going to talk about the mod ID in just a moment. But first of all, the first 2 things, well, I'm personally going to take net Kaupenjoe, because in this case, Kaupenjoe is my name. Highly suggest using your own name for this. So you can, for example, if your name is John, you can do net.john, or if your name is Maria, you could say net.maria. Whatever the mod ID is going to be in just a moment. As per this, I'm going to choose net.Kaupenjoe in this case, and our mod ID is going to be tutorial mod. The same goes here. Tutorial mod. And now I'm going to explain the mod ID for a second. So the mod ID, it's very important that this is all lowercase, right? So you cannot have any uppercase characters. You cannot have any spaces in here. Only lowercase characters, numbers, dashes, and underscores. That is all that is allowed here, nothing else. Please keep this in mind. I've seen this error time and time again. Your mod ID can only contain lowercase characters, numbers, underscore, and dash. That's it. Right, one thing I want to quickly tell you about the mappings. There are currently no parchment mappings available. They will be updated in the coming weeks. So if that ever does take place, I might just, sneak in a little tutorial where we update the mappings to parchment. This is just so that we have parameters mapped. Otherwise, they are going to look very ugly, but we'll have a rough workaround for this in that we're going to see in this tutorial series, but for the time being we have to stick with the official mappings. There's another thing that we wanted to change, and that is the ExampleMod over here. So just find anywhere where it says ExampleMod, you can double click this to select the entire word, press Ctrl R, and then here we're going to say in this replace window tutorial mod. So we basically want to replace ExampleMod with tutorial mod. We're just going to say replace all, and that is going to be fine. Then the build.gradle file has been successfully changed, and we can click this little elephant here that says load Gradle changes. So just click this, and in the build window, you can see that it starts building again. This hopefully will not take too long, not as long as it took the last time. You can see only took 9 seconds, so that is exactly what you want to see, and that is going to be fine. The changes in the build.gradle file are fine, so we can close this now, and we can open the ExampleMod class. So this is going to throw you with a lot of stuff over here. So you can see there's quite a bit of things, but no worries at all. We'll be able to get through this. So you can see there are actually some examples already done here. Now these examples we actually want to get rid of immediately because I actually set up my stuff a little bit differently from the way that it's set up here. Now this is, once again, of course, this would totally work, but I highly recommend not doing it like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the 2 deferred registers and the registry objects over here. I'm also going to delete the comments over here. I'm going to make this a little bit different. Then the actual string right here. So we have an ExampleMod mod ID. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it, press Shift F6, and I'm just going to introduce a underscore. So I'm going to call this mod underscore ID, because that's personally what I like to call my ID. I'm going to hit enter, and then it's going to be changed everywhere where it has to be changed. We're also going to get rid of the block.register and the items.register over here. You can get rid of those comments as well. We don't need those at the moment. And I'm also going to change the formatting a little bit. There you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete the onServerStarting method over here, and we'll keep the client mod events over here, because this is actually going to be very important for us later. But what we can do is we can just get rid of whatever is written inside of it. So basically that we have a empty comment setup and an empty onClient setup method. We also want to change our mod ID as well as the name of the class and the packages where it is contained in. So let's start with the mod ID here. So we can see this is ExampleMod. Well, this should be TutorialMod in our case, right? Of course, this is our mod ID. Then the ExampleMod right here, we want to press Shift F6 and rename this to TutorialMod as well. Now, this does not have to have the same spacing as the mod ID because this is the name of the class. Once again, I refer back to some Java knowledge, highly suggested over here. If you don't know what a class is, if you don't know what a method is, highly suggest taking a look at my Java introduction. As I've previously mentioned, it can only help you further along. We also want to change the package structure over here. So we're going to click on ExampleMod, press Shift F6 again, and then we're just going to select it all, net.kaupenjoe.tutorialMod. So this is the same structure that we have defined in our build.gradle file. So we're just going to say refactor, and then the package structure on the left will change to, as you can see, net.kaupenjoe.tutorialMod. We can then delete the com folder, and then everything should work totally fine. We're almost done. We now actually expand the resources folder and then the meta.in folder, because in the mods.toml file, we have to change some very, very important things. Let's double click on the mods.toml file, and you can see, first of all, we have a license. So I'm going to choose, of course, the MIT license. If you don't know what that means, that is totally fine. But for me, I wanted to choose the MIT license in this case. Then we have the mod ID. This is extremely important that this is correct. Tutorial mod. You can see this one here has to match, if we go back into the tutorial mod class, this one right here. So those two have to match, otherwise it will not work. You will get an error when you try to start Minecraft and those two do not match. Then it's going to say something like there's no mod ID in the mods.toml file. That is the error that might occur there. So those two have to match. Make sure of that. The display name is just going to be tutorial mod. We don't have a logo file yet, so we can just keep this empty. The authors is, of course, Kaupenjoe. Exactly. And then we also have something here. And here we're just going to replace the example mod once again with tutorial mod. And then here as well, tutorial mod. And that should be pretty much all that we need to do. You can also change the description, other credits and stuff like that. But this is going to be totally fine for the time being. The most important thing is that you change the mod ID over here. Right, and crazily enough, this is actually all of the steps that we need to do in order to get this to start working. Now, how can we start Minecraft? Well, let's just go to the Gradle tab on the right here, expand the tasks, Forge Gradle runs, and then just in case before we actually start it, we also want to call the genIntelliJRuns over here. So let's just double click this, just so that we have this. This is going to, download some additional things that we might not have before, and it's just going to set up everything neatly and so that everything is hopefully going to work first time around. So once again, this can take anywhere from a few seconds up to a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. Let's just, once again, just be patient, let this run through, and then we'll see. There you go, 37 seconds, build successful. That's exactly what you want to see. And now we can go on to the run client task over here, double click this, you can close this, and now the client should hopefully start. So at some point, the window from Minecraft will open. All of this is totally fine, right? Right, and there we go. Minecraft has started with Forge Beta. That is all fine. Let's actually turn off the music over here. That's going to be okay. And then we can see tutorial mod right here. So everything is working fine. So that's how easy it can be. Now in the mods.toml file, there is also a version over here which you can change. So I highly recommend having the version over here be the same as in your build.gradle file, because this is actually the one that determines how it's looking inside of Minecraft, as well as how it's looking when you actually build the mod. Building the mod is a great thing to also think about, and that is something I want to show you as well, because some people have been confused. So let's just say you've already added something and you want to share this with the world or your friends or whoever. Then what you have to do is you have to go to the terminal and put in /gradle w build. Alternatively, instead of putting it right here, you can also go to the Gradle tab, to the build right here, and then just double click the build over here. That also works, and that is totally fine. So you can see now this has built. Where is our jar file though? Well, our jar file is in the build folder. So you're going to right click on here. We're going to say open in Explorer. We're going to go into it, into the libs folder over here. And you can see tutorial mod 0.0.1-119. That is our jar file, which we can now put into the mods folder. We can make for example, via CurseForge, we can upload it there. We can upload it to Modrinth, wherever you might want to share your jar file. That is basically the jar file that you have. Right, and while this has been quite the setup, there is one more step that I highly suggest. While it is optional, I highly suggest still going through with it, and that is setting up a GitHub repository. It can only help you in the long run. A GitHub repository is basically a version control system, so you can check in your changes over time, and you can also revert them. So if you break something, you can go back, and it can also be very helpful if you, for example, want some help by some people. Then sharing your GitHub repository is one of the easiest ways that you might facilitate that help. The first thing you're going to need for a GitHub repository is, of course, a GitHub account. I highly suggest just making one. It is a very reputable site and no worries there. So just make a new GitHub account and then we can proceed in IntelliJ again. Right, so what you want to do is you want to click on the VCS button over here and then share project on GitHub. Now you can see this will basically make a repository name. I'm personally going to make this private. Now you don't have to make this private, especially if you want to ever share this with someone when it comes to, solving some problem, then I highly recommend not making it private. Otherwise sharing will be a little bit more difficult. Now share by, you don't have any accounts here, so we're gonna add an account, login via GitHub. Now this will open our browser and it will open the JetBrains website. We can say authorize in GitHub, and if we are logged in via GitHub, hopefully you're gonna get a successfully authorized over here. And then if we go back to IntelliJ, you can see github.com/Kaupenjoe, and I'm just going to click the share button. A new window will appear that's basically going to say, hey, those are all of the things that we need to push to GitHub. And I highly recommend doing exactly this. These are all of the things that you need. You need to push the build.gradle file. You need to push the properties file. All of those have to be pushed. This is all done in the gitignore file. So this is already basically, the gitignore file already determines what is supposed to be pushed and what is not supposed to be pushed. So this is why this is extremely important to actually have. We're going to say add. And then at the bottom right corner, you can see successfully shared project on GitHub. Now, if I click on this, you can see the GitHub repository will open here and everything is right here. For tutorial 119 with all of those files. And as I've said, exactly all of those files are extremely important and those are all needed. If you then ever do a change, so for example, I'm going to add a very important comment over here, very important comment. You can see on the left, the tutorial mod class has changed its color to blue. This is because a change in here has occurred. If there is something that is red, that means that the changes are not tracked currently. And if there's something that is green, that means a new file has been created. Then you can then go to the commit tab on the left over here, just select all of the changes that we've done. We can say added an important comment. We can click on the commit button down here. Sometimes you have to click another time. If, for example, there are a lot of warnings there, then you just say, that's totally fine. We still want to commit, basically. And this is not yet online. To actually get our changes online, what you have to do is you have to go to this arrow over here that is called push. And then we just say push. Push one commit to origin master. So if we now go back to GitHub and reload this, you can see added important comment 27 seconds ago. And that is all that we need to do. If you have made your repository private and you now want to make this public, you can go to settings and then all the way down to change repository visibility. Change the visibility. You just have to type this in here to confirm. Say, I understand that we want to change the visibility, and then everything is going to be fine. Right, and that is pretty much all that you need to do to set up the repository and the workspace for Forge in 1.19. It's going to be a great and awesome tutorial series. Again, I am sure of it. And, well, let's just see what crazy things we can come up with this time. Thank you so much for watching the video, and next time we're going to add a custom item to the game. So I'll hopefully see you all in the next tutorial. So, yeah.